Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Master Runeterra Squadcast. A bit more of a regular event tonight, but I think we do have a couple new faces, right? Tank, is this your first Squadcast episode, or did you join one of the ones that I was out?
I popped in briefly in one episode, but not for a full one.
All right. Well, for everybody watching, Tank is our newest squad member, and ZTurtle, you might recognize from the Master Runeterra podcasts. He's been not so frequent guest on those as well, but he's been a part of the Master Runeterra organization for a long time now, so happy to have them. And then, of course, both Santa and CardGamer are regulars. How is everybody doing on patch day? Love this day.
Tired.
I'm tired too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's late for you, isn't it?
It is
You're
4
across
a.m.
the pond, as they say.
It is 4 a.m. That's why I'm not normally here, but it's patch day. I gotta be here.
Special
And you guys are going for an early one next week. So I thought I'd do this one a bit later.
Yeah, we're going to try and do another special weekend episode with Marshall, who runs the lore parody account, which is now the Runeterra Report. So keep your eyes and ears out for that. I'll probably be streaming that one as well. But yeah, as for today's show, let's get right into it, guys. Let's talk about the patch. How does everybody feel about the patch notes and what the changes we got, and how do you guys feel playing today? I've not had too much time to play myself, but I've been on for the last couple hours. I've been enjoying myself.
I guess I can start off. Overall, I'm not like a huge fan of the patch. I don't think it is a bad patch, but I don't think it's really a good patch either. It's kind of just there. Most of the nerfs they did, I think, were pretty good overall. There's definitely some interesting discourse if the Quietus nerf is good or bad, because the card was very pushed, but it kept a lot of things in check. So there's an interesting argument on whether that was actually good or bad. The rest of the nerfs, I think, are pretty much just good nerfs. There's maybe one or two that you could argue a little bit, but I think they're all pretty good nerfs. The main thing is I would have liked to see a bit more meaningful buffs. It kind of seems like the only buffs that will really have a significant impact on the meta will be the orange stuff, the Jax fish fight, and the Illaoi stuff. But I mean, we'll see. I would have liked to see the meta become a bit more powerful overall, but like I said, it's not a bad patch. It's
that
just
deck
kind
is
of
wild.
There. Curious to hear others takes though.
Oh, sorry.
I think the Ornn and the Jax buffs are pretty significant, actually. The Ornn buff itself doesn't matter.
Oh, CardGamer's dropping out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's okay.
I don't know how much of you got from me, but
yeah, I think a majority of the buffs are really meaningful. I don't know how much I agree with that. They have really good buffs, pretty much across the board.
Yeah. The Ornn buffs, the buffs of the Ornn package were pretty significant.
Yeah.
I think those definitely I've been playing Ornn LeBlanc, and those the double forge guy seems really strong.
Yeah.
Now. The 5-drop.
It sounds like I may have cut out before I said what I thought was strong, but I thought the fish fight change was really impactful. I think the orange stuff was impactful, and I think Illaoi was impactful, but the rest of it I'm not so sure on.
I genuinely do think Dragon Color is going to be in the meta. I think that deck is cracked. I'm not joking.
I'm just not sold Ionia can
exist.
No,
dude, it's so good. Think of
it might be really good, but Ionia's the 9th best region then. So
no, Ionia's gonna jump up now. You just wait.
But, yeah, I haven't laid my hands on any decks yet, but the two things I really want to try is I want to mess around with Kale Package, and I want to play degenerate Lucian stuff until I kill somebody on turn 2, and then I'll move on. But yeah.
Respectable.
So, I was thinking about it. You can technically flip Lucian on turn 2 now. If you have Haunted Relic and double Butcher, that's a Lucian flip.
Yeah, or Pesky Spectre. You can even throw in some Fading Memories as well, and you can make it somewhat. You can make it so it's not so unlikely that it won't happen. So you just need to get your like 1 game out of 10 or something, where you just kill somebody on turn 2, and then you can move on to playing real decks. But
I hear you.
That's played an ungodly amount of ladder. Illaoi just seems to wreck everything.
How are you playing Illaoi?
Illaoi Demacia. Majority of turn 4s, I'm having like the weapon, the old god weapon, is ridiculous. Like now it's been left unchecked now, and it has opportunity to play it on turn 2 without getting punished a lot. It is ridiculous. It just stacks up. There's very few decks at the moment, specifically like that's why you'll see a lot of the Swain Nor and stuff like that deals with it directly, but you can't leave that to just go up, because against aggro you just have an endless blocker that you can just keep getting spawn 2, keep trading it, stuff like that, and then against every other matchup you just get a massive unit that eventually wins you the game.
I was pretty convinced that iCard was not good, and then first game today somebody went idle turn 1, I turn 2, and suddenly I had a 5, like a, it goes to a 4/4 on turn 2.
Yeah, 4/4 turn.
I
3,
couldn't deal
right?
with it.
Yeah, Illaoi's scary.
Dude,
So
I've God's a good card. I wanted to play that card when Illaoi was unplayable, just like as an equipment that spawned a 2/2. Like, it wasn't good enough, but like I believed back then. Like, now that Illaoi's playable, like it is time. Are you playing like Vayne in Illaoi Demacia, or are you playing
Yes.
like Mono Illaoi? It's just like Vayne
Vayne.
Illaoi.
Because
What
you're
equipment are you running?
the old.
Is it
you're running
just
the old,
I?
yeah, and you run the 3 mana 2/1 improvise with a 2.
The Castaway, but no Combat Cook, no Aegis, right? No Demacia.
No.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
I feel like Aegis has a spot in that deck.
Aegis is like not that good of a card anymore, unless you're
Dural is
playing
really
Dural. I think
You never want to play Dural though. Like it's actually very
Because of
much
how
a
you
press
wanna
of
use mana
turns.
in that
Like
deck.
you're playing so much around other stuff that you don't want to play too much into the Dural plan, because as soon as you play Dural for 5 mana, it's just so much worse in terms of spawn. Right, you're summoning a 4/3 with thing. Does it matter? Can they deal with your massive tentacle even with like a couple spells?
Yeah. Like, why spend 5 mana to remove something when you can spend 3 mana to remove something, right? Like the Tentacle Smash card. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
I love that buff. That might be my favorite buff of the patch.
Tentacle Smash is scary. All of the Illaoi stuff, all of the orange stuff is so scary, because it's just like I know it's been said like a million times, but god, that like linear style beatdown is horrifying. Like, it's so spooky to play against. Because sometimes they just draw right, and you're just like, oh, well.
But like, also this is how Dragon Caller is playable, so I wouldn't get too scared. So.
Dude, okay, I will say, like, you were talking about heavy metal, Unworthy Soul is cracked right now.
Yeah, Unworthy Soul destroys these decks.
Absolutely
Dude, Unworthy Soul
cracked.
and Ornn. Okay, Unworthy Soul Ornn, like, isn't that good because he makes a copy, but like, still, like,
It's
Unworthy
good.
Soul Ornn is like very good.
and what makes this deck so much more fun is it makes Nakakabora playable. Like, I had a 20 tentacle with Nakakabora.
I think
just
Nakakabora
swarmed
is
the board.
like actually okay. I don't know if I'd say it's good, but
Well, the benefit of it now is it has initial value, right? You spawn 2. But you also, the way you play tentacles now is you play it for a big tentacle. So you're more likely to have like spawn, you're more likely to have one massive tentacle than the old play style, which didn't have too much emphasis on it. So by the time you get to these later turns and you're running out of resources a bit, you just have like a one of Nakaboras. It's almost like like those decks that have the one like Void Guardian and Kaiser and stuff like that. You just kind of run it to see if you're running out of steam. It's just a decent card, which is a good finisher.
It's the Adicon of Illaoi, you could say.
Mhm.
If the massive
known
thing,
top
yeah,
end Adicon.
the massive thing is it summons 2 spawn on things. So the difference is even if you commit 8 mana, you're still going to get 2 spawn 2. Which if you look at like what's spawn 2 valued at, it's like valued at 2 mana. If we go off the spell, the answered prayer spell, probably like 3 mana at burst. So you're technically playing about 6 mana for Nakaboros.
Yeah. Like
initially.
it's not that bad, right? Because like if you think about it like that, like a lot of times the removal that's actually hitting it is about like 5 to 6 mana value, and like you said, it generates 2 mana on play. So like a lot of times, worst case is it's going even and it's like eating a spell that like a different threat would have ate, right?
For sure.
So like I think it does like can like deserve its spot finally now. I think the main question is like, is it necessary when the meta shapes up? Because like a lot of stuff's very much up in the air on day one because like there is no structure. People are just trying things and seeing.
I don't think you're in more than one of. I think I think it's more of like a ladder choice to just run one of a ladder, just save your ass sometimes. I don't know if it'll make competitive decks, because you see the Nakaboras as a solution, so it's in the deck and therefore you can play around it. Because I mean, I didn't even know this, the Nakabora spell is focus, so as soon as you have that, they have 1 turn to answer you. If not, then you just swarm the board. So
I could definitely be convinced on its viability, but I'm gonna let some other people do the testing.
Yeah, I'm not an Illaoi MFer. That's not my style.
Same. Has
I can
anyone?
play Illaoi, just not. I don't want to test the Nakaboros.
But like, it's so fun.
true.
It's so. It is wild. It doesn't have an animation. It's pretty upsetting.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'd rather just be killing people with Illaoi before turn 8. Like that's my goal.
But
with
the decks that normally push you to 8 mana normally just store you out, right? Like Nakaboros is good against like Anivia, right? Because the way Anivia works, they just perma harsh winding your Illaoi and your Tentacle, right? Then you just play Nakakabora and then go ham.
Yeah, it's good for decks that say like, okay, I have like 5 or 6 hard removal, I'm winning like that, and like Nagakaboros is like threat 7, right? So like now sometimes I just like get around those decks a lot easier. Okay. And then like in board range, like board based mirrors, if like the board stalls, it just like auto wins those stalls, right? So it definitely has a purpose.
And do you know what the best part of the deck is? It can run heavy metal.
True.
Heavy metal.
You run the 2 best removal spells in the game. T-Smash and heavy metal.
Yeah, heavy metal might be the best removal. If this is the meta we're in, heavy metal is definitely the most broken. It's the Quietus of this batch.
Do we think Quietus got over nerfed?
I do.
Because I wish it went to 2 mana. Is the change I wanted.
I
don't think it needed a change.
I think you're crazy.
The problem is, right, is it's not that it went to 2 mana. The problem is if you look at how many hits Quietus had, you wouldn't have Illaoi at the moment. You wouldn't have like half the champions that are being run at the moment because there's just one shot. So you wouldn't have Azir, you wouldn't have those type of champions. I think it's good to...
You can just run buff spells if you really want to counter it that badly. I think the fact that we don't have a way to kill backline threats is like... It's kind of annoying, to be honest, because it means that these backline champions are now completely unchecked. And like we can argue up and down whether that's a good or thing or a bad thing. It just means that the meta's different. But I think Quietus in its previous state was like relatively healthy for the game, and it was a lever that they could have pulled in different ways to continue to ensure that those champions stayed in check. Maybe they could have added an additional condition to it, or I don't know. Up the mana to 2 doesn't really do anything. I don't think that makes much of a change, but I think that it was important that Quietus existed in the game.
Yeah. I was really happy about the change until I realized that now I have no way of removing Seraphine. And then I got like kind of pissed off Because it's like, hey, if you look at SI, how do you deal with that 1/4 for 2 mana that generates you a card besides like Vengeance?
Okay, but like if your opponent wasn't a bozo, like Quietus didn't stop Seraphine.
Yeah.
Like at any time I played versus an SI deck, when I played Seraphine, I either didn't care if she died or I was getting enough value out of her that I was just like winning the game anyways. It's stuff like Heimerdinger and like Azir that get to like run rampant now. Like Heimer isn't nearly as bad, but like Azir was not a playable card because to beat SI you needed like Dais plus Azir plus Combat Trick plus like Aurelia like on like 6 or 7 to win the game.
Yeah,
it's just like such an absurd hand to have to like beat their Quietus draw. Like
if
you're supposed to be like good against these decks.
If Quietus was in a different region, then I could probably see it not getting touched as much. But I think because it's an SI, that's why it had to be touched. Like you compare it to something like Culling Strike, right? For 2 more mana, it can deal with a unit that has 1 more attack, which is a lot bigger than people think. But again, it can't destroy equipment either. Like if you compare it to Culling Strike, it's just like massive level difference. Obviously, Noxus
Why
is
didn't we
not.
just buff Culling?
What?
That's base. We should have 2 mana Culling Strike.
Why didn't we just buff
I
Culling?
actually don't hate
like,
that.
Well, I think yeah,
fast,
we could
though.
buff Culling, but I think it's more of a case of Noxus isn't the region where you'd run that. Like if you run in Noxus, then you just run like Disintegrate, like Ping and stuff like that. Like it has other removal tools, but I'm glad it's done in the beta, right? I'm glad this because Quietus is such a massive shift that people don't realize. Is it makes a lot more stuff more viable, right? You've got your Nora, Heimer, Azir, Illaoi, just to name like the first 4 that come in my head, and you got that, and you've got all the other pool of champions. Now, whether a case of because this new pool of champions are in the mix that we don't see the other champions, it could be a case, but we could be looking at like a very wild meta where the choice of champions in a deck is like insane.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's looking like this meta is going to be wider than last meta was, but we're very, very early on, so we'll see like where things end up going. But it seems like the game got even flatter than last meta, and the game was very flat last meta.
I don't think that's going to be where we land.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of like I think things like Darkness are going to be really powerful. People haven't messed around with it that much.
I mean, I don't doubt these decks are going to be doing powerful enough things, but do you really think anything's going to be like powerful enough to like break the cycle or like break out of the triangle? Because like we talked about these like Jaxorn and Illaoi decks, which are certainly powerful, but like the guy who pulls up with Flock is just going to like destroy that deck, and like the guy who pulls up with like Freljord SI is going to like destroy Flock, right? And like we can keep doing the cycle over and over again. Like I don't think we're getting out of that.
But the point isn't that the cycle is broken, it's more the cycle is now a large cycle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we're really flat. Like you can play like so much in that. And like even more than last meta, which was kind of the most you've been able to play in like a very long time. Even though we've been saying it's been getting wider for a while.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think we'll see what happens. Like maybe something will pop up that's just completely broken, but I think as it currently stands, we're definitely looking at a super, super wide open meta. Just because everything seems relatively equal in power level.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, has anyone been disappointed by Dragons yet?
Yes.
I haven't played it yet.
I thought Dragons would be good.
Monty, I played your deck.
Not really.
Can't be disappointed then, huh?
But I wanted it.
I played the deck that you showed, Monty, in the Wombat chat.
The SI one?
Yeah, the Thresh one with the stuff like that. I got big units and they just did nothing. There's no way to kill the Nexus because you have to run Targon to get Overwhelm on your dragons, and then if you run Targon, you can't run SI. Like if you could run 3 regions, be beautiful.
I think that deck needs Rally. I'm not playing any Rally in that deck as of right now. I think it needs Rally.
If you could play 3 regions, Dragons would be great.
Yeah. Alternatively, you could just play Lucian, and you're playing like Camavoran Soul like Dragon, and you can just like kill your own dudes. It's another threat, and you're running protection spells because you're playing dragons. I know I've been a little bit of a just like a Lucian merchant this this podcast, but hey, I really want to mess around with that guy, specifically in that deck as well.
Because Lucian's 1 mana now, you can curve really well with a lot of Shadow Isle stuff, like the 2 mana summon 3/1/1 wisps. This is a combo you used to do before, but now you can do it a lot more consistently. I think, I don't know if it's Lucian, if it's like a Lucian Callista, if it's a Lucian something crazy like that. I mean, I saw people run the what's the 3 mana landmark that gives stuff challenger?
Plaza. Grand Plaza.
Yeah, people run Plaza and stuff like that, and you've got you've got tools in there that they've been slowly putting in, like the Moon Shade that gives the Moonglade Shade, whatever it's called, that gives you a sapling, and you have a lot of resources, right? And I don't know if Evelyn's the way. Like I said, I think it's definitely SI. I just don't know which path you go down, right?
Yeah, I've run into like every single Lucian deck I've run into has been a wash for them. Like I am not a believer in like it has all the problems 2-cost Lucian had. Like it's not.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But that's because people are trying to build their deck around it. Like I think 1-cost Lucian is like a pretty solid card, but he's not like a real champion. Like it's Demacia Annie. Like I wouldn't call like Annie like a real champion. It's like a very quality like early unit that gets a lot of tempo. You might as well run it if you're not running anything else and you need like a 1-drop. And like Lucian's very much filling that same slot. It's just he's such a risky card that has like such a low payoff if he even gets answered immediately after he flips.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know. I don't buy it. Like, I know there was, like, a lot of people... Like, I don't think the problem is that he's an X1. Because, like, a lot of the weird arguments were like, well, now he dies to ping. And it's like, okay, but, like, he was dying to Mystic Shot before. It's not like... Like, that's not going to push him over the edge. The problem is he's still Lucian. He's just, like...
It is a buff.
Yeah.
It's just a buff for if the card wasn't a champion. Like, it's still Lucian. Like you said, it's still Lucian. You're still dedicating at least like one of your 6 champion slots to him. And majority of people will see Lucian, they'll play him, they'll see a deck, and they'll try and force his level up as quick as possible. He's like, my Lucian's gonna die if I don't level him up. Let me slam down everything, empty my hand to try and level this Lucian, and then he just gets like any spell. You know, he gets slammed, he gets combated, he gets removed, and now you've just wasted all your resources. And
that's why you just play Unyielding Spirit. They try and remove it, you just slam Unyielding Spirit on. Like people are talking about tough, like hey, you know, you can't die to pings. You have just chuck Unyielding Spirit on them.
Holy shit. That's the most broken turn 6 play I've ever heard. Lucian Unyielding turn 6.
And you can do it like I said, you can do it turn 6 now. Not turn 7, turn 6.
It's insane.
But like Turtle kind of alluded to it when he said like you have Lucian's bad when you run 6 champs. Lucian's kind of absurd this patch though, because we have game modes with more than 6 champions in it. If you were playing Demacia, or you just need a 1-drop and unlimited, like just put this guy in, man. He's just 2/1 quick attack. He's good.
I'm so sad this won't come
Excellent
out.
Segue, Mr.
This won't come out in time because it only lasts a day.
That's true.
It'll be ready for next time. It'll be ready for next time.
Champions Unlimited will be back.
It's just so sad.
But we could talk about Champions Unlimited a little bit and how we feel about it and how much fun we're having with it. I tried to play Reputation. I played Akshan, I played Renekton, I played Sivir, and I played LeBlanc. I had one cat in there originally, but I looked at it and I was like, damn, cat's at 2/2 now. This bitch sucks. So I took her out.
He's so good still. What?
And then I went 2 and 3 It was great. I realized as I was playing that I cannot just play one unit on curve for the rest of the game. That's not how Legends of Runeterra works in 2023. And I got absolutely blasted.
Well, you say that. I played some absolute meme deck because I was like, I'm gonna have fun with this. I played. What did I play? I played Demacia Freljord, and I just put like, I think I had like Lucian, Brom, like Udyr and stuff like that in there, and just see how crazy it's to work. And I was like, oh, people are gonna be playing such fun decks. We're gonna have like fun matches. Unlimited Champions. I faced Anivia round 1, and I wanted to cry. You have unlimited champions, and you choose to pick 3.
I played against MonteXristo 3 times.
I played against Peak twice.
MonteXristo without Sundisk.
Without
Like, I didn't put Sundisk in it. No Sundisk.
Wait, what?
I think they got to the end of the deck and they just forgot. And they had locked it in already.
Wait, did they have like extra champions in it that didn't count for
Yeah.
Sundisk? Is that why?
Yeah. It was Sundisk, but they, with additional champions, they had Zillion, they had Akshan, they had Azir, Xerath, and Renekton. And they just didn't put the disc in.
Wait, if I'm correct, wait. Why is it not going up? I'm swear
Sundisk
Sundisk.
still summons if you don't have if you have non-ascended champs in it. Like
You
remember
just have to
you
have all
used
Shurima cards.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
it was. Yeah, my bad.
The bro just forgot Sundisk.
Yeah.
It was okay. They gave me hope. That's the reason my run went 3 and 2 or 2 and 3 instead of 1 and 3.
You can play Sundisk with all the ascended champions in Unlimited. Why
Yeah, you
didn't I
can.
do
It's
that?
pretty sweet.
Yeah. I don't know.
I beat Lulu
enjoyed
Jinx.
it.
That was nice.
The Ascended's
Lulu
call
Jinx, that was my
value.
other win. But yeah, people are not playing. They're not taking advantage of the Champs Unlimited format.
I think they
like,
will next week. I think Ranked wasn't out yet, especially in EU. Ranked wasn't out yet, so everyone just ran in there with like their ranked decks.
Mhm.
I wish I waited as well. Like if I waited for an hour, and then like I found this Illaoi deck, I would have just run the Illaoi deck with like extra champions in it and had fun. But hey, at the end of the day, right? It's beta season. The trophies mean nothing, and then for majority of us here, we're gonna get 250 trophies quite easily. So
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up, Mo. CardGamer and I were talking about that like last week. We kind of came to the conclusion that the best champion and unlimited decks are just like stuff like Plunder, or I thought Reputation would be good because Reputation has kind of ass followers, so I replaced the ass followers with good champions. It wasn't good
Clearly,
enough.
it was
That
the
deck
follower's
sucks.
fault.
It feels really bad. But like Plunder obviously would be a really good choice because you can just slot like MF in at some point and like you're just playing MF, TF, Gangplank, Sedge. Like that would be a sick deck right now. I should have played that instead. I just wanted to jerk off with Reputation.
Yeah, stuff like that's very good. Like, you can probably play like a Targon PZ, like mid-range tempo type deck, which would also be very good. James did like elusives with extra champs today, which seemed fine. Like TF Swain or Raven Bloom, and just like throw in some MFs and like cats because like why not is probably pretty good. But yeah, I think stuff like that is probably going to be the best. No reason to get too cute. But if you do want to get too cute, I played 22 champs, Vandal City Mayor, and Siphoning Strike today. That was a good time.
Wait,
I
Vandal
think
City
pretty sweet.
Mayor.
Yeah, because I'm in Vandal City, because like I'm running all the cheap Vandal champs, and then like my entire deck is like discounted now, and it's gas.
Surely you played Tree, right?
No,
Oh.
I played Sivir and Akshan.
I will. I will say,
Super auction.
I don't know if this is a day one thing or this is actually like viable, but a lot of people playing Lysandra again, Thralls, and
I haven't seen Thralls.
I'm very sad. I've seen so many Thralls. I mean, I've beaten most of them because I'm running a deck that beats it, but like people I see on ladder, like if I check my friends list on people who've got like diamond. It's either TF Swain or Thralls.
Yeah, I don't want another Thralls takeover, but
Yeah.
I really don't think they will. Like
I think
I love that deck. I really want them to, but I don't think the buff is meaningful enough. Unfortunately, it sets up some really nice play patterns, and like you're not really allowed to kill Lissandra anymore, which is a little bit weird and annoying when playing against it. But there's
Yeah,
still like some issues of it being too slow and losing to like FTR, which are just awkward.
I mean, and that's the thing, right? Is the big thing is you can't kill Lissandra anymore. Like Quietus was like the obvious choice, and you can't do that anymore. So
No, I don't even mean like that. Like, you can't kill Lissandra now because you're going to die. They're gonna play another Thrall that comes out as 7, and like you're just going to die because you're gonna get
true,
swarmed
yeah.
by 8/8s
True,
now.
yeah.
So like it
That
puts
is a
you
good
in a
point.
weird position.
It's
It's a
interesting to
weird
say the
change.
least.
I really hate that buff to Thralls.
Why? I thought it was a really elegant buff. Like, a lot of the changes they make are kind of inelegant or like not well thought out. I thought that one was like they sat down and they actually put some time and effort into it, and it was a good
Like,
buff.
if your goal is to buff Thralls, like if your goal is like to buff a deck, I think one of the worst ways you can go about that is pick the most overloaded card in the entire deck and then put more onto it. Like, that's insane.
That's
like
That's fair. That's a
like
fair
that's
point.
just
But if you
wild.
look at it from the other perspective, where like Thrall's issue is consistency. If you don't have a Thrall on one, you're not getting a Thrall out fast enough, right?
That's not really the issue with Thralls right now.
No?
No, Thralls' issue is like you are a very so you're a lot slower than you were before, which means that you are giving up either like your aggro matchup or your control matchup. And this Lissandra change doesn't exactly like entirely fix that. Like it doesn't really like the what this Lissandra change is really doing is it's letting you get your 2 Thrall combo on 5 a lot more consistently, which is very nice, and it's winning matchups that you were pretty much already favored in as Thralls. Whereas it isn't really helping you that much in the spots where you were like really in a bad position.
Well, I think Promising Future made that deck as good as it was, right?
It was held up by
win rate
Sands for
went
a
up.
long time after that. But like, yeah, it was promising, and then it had Sands, and then once both of those, well, like promising was gutted at 9, it was dead.
Yeah,
I think
Go on.
I don't like the idea of putting like more stats on Lissandra. Like, that's not gonna help her be played outside of Thralls. It's just going to like further trap her in that archetype. And like, if your goal is to buff Thralls, you can spread out the love a bit. Because like the two off the top of my head when it came out, I don't know if either of these are good because I haven't play tested them. But like, you could have buffed the 2/2 that either summons or advances, and like, what? Why not?
That card is broken already.
Wait,
I know
how would
that
you?
card is maybe as good as Lissandra.
No,
How would you-
agree, but like, but it has so much less text on it that like you
That's
could
true.
do something there. You could
That
do
is true.
something to I don't remember any of the cards' names. The 5-mana 4/5. Like, if you just made that like a 4/6 or something, like just make it harder to remove. Like,
Well, the issue's not stats. I think
help a lot.
Thralls is one of the few decks where you could probably run the like in Promising Future meta, you could probably run the 5 mana at like a 4/4 and it still wouldn't matter. Like, you're there for the text, and you're there for like for the 1 or 2 turns it's up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you want its text and its effects, and then you want it to go. You don't care about it anymore. It's just breaking your hand for more Thralls.
I mean, like, a big issue with that deck, if we're talking about this thing, and like Turtle was like talking about with the promising nerf, is like you have to play Draklorn. Like, and Mo kind of like was joking about it when he said like you can't 4 Thralls on 5 consistently. Like, the fact you don't have promising to set up these like really insane turns is like really bad. Like, this deck loses to Heimer Jace now because like you have to have a very specific hand that has enough Thralls threatening to pop on 5 with Draklorn that they have to Vengeance Draklorn on 5 and then not Heimer, and their tempo is all messed up, and then try and win off of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the fact you're running Dracoin just makes so many things so awkward.
Yeah. I think the reason
That's
the reason I saw it being ran right is it's just really good into aggro, and especially
you
like
have to
Azir.
run it now.
Azir.
it's sad.
I'm saying that the reason why I saw it a lot on ladder is because a lot of the degenerate aggro, Swarm, Azir, Lucian, stuff like that just kind of gets rolled by Lysandra, because you just Sands of Times and stuff like that on big attack turns and get big Thralls, and they can't kill your big Thralls, and that's why it maybe seems more play. And because you can't kill Lysandra as easy now, it means that she levels up more often, and therefore you have the zero cost card each turn, and you're pulling down that way. And a lot of the times, I mean, again, like people that run in these slower decks, like the Heimer and stuff like that, it gives you a bit more chance. I think what it is a lot of people love Thralls, and people are playing it now because this is the only time they'll be able to play it and maybe get like a 40% win rate.
Yeah,
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna stick around.
I'm interested to think of what people think of the new cards. 2 new cards. We got the
Castigate and Soul Cleave.
Yes, I think Castigate is bad, but I really like it.
Yeah. I was gonna say, does anyone think that card is playable? Like,
I do.
There's only one scenario you ever run that in, and it's in Mono Shurima, and you run it as a one-off if it's a follower heavy meta. But apart from that, you never run it, because the big thing is.
I have a second scenario.
Go on.
Nasus Thresh.
Mm-hmm.
You just play Thresh on 5, then you play Castigate on 6, and you flip your Thresh.
There's so many better ways to flip Thresh, though, I think, than. Like I said, is if it's a follower only, if it's like a very follower heavy meta, then fair enough.
Yeah, what you're saying.
I don't think the card is
what
that
you're
bad.
saying. No, I don't think it's like terrible, but I don't think it's good because like
No.
Play Thresh on 5, Castigate on 6 says my opponent can't interact at all while I hold up 0 mana for like 2 turns, and it's like that's not happening. So
I
like
think Spirit Fire is a better card than Castigate.
Really?
I disagree
Yes.
with that.
I think the reason I'm saying that it has to be a follower
I
only
think they're
meta,
different
right,
cards.
is you want to play Castigate when their win con is through followers, which is not a lot of decks. Because if their win con is through a champion, they normally have a champion down by the time you're playing it. And you're giving that champion, you're spending all your mana and you're not dealing with that champion at all. You're just letting the champion do whatever it wants. So you have to be like really favored on board, and you have to have like a champion or 2 down. Like it has so many conditions for it to be useful. I think it might be run as a tech card. I don't think it'll be run consistently. Like I said, I can see it in Mono Shurima, and you have your big Shurima cards, or anything that's like you have 2 champ, like Monty said, like anything that you have like a 2 champion deck that has 2 sticky champions.
But
so like a Thresh, Narcissus, and stuff like that.
What if you play it in Viego Kindred, you Castigate, and then the Kindred mark triggers on the champion, and you just wipe the whole board? It's easy.
Wow.
That's it. That's my...
Then we're playing Viego Shurima.
What I will say...
I think Viego's legitimate. Like, Soul Cleave is insane in Viego. And I also really, really want to mess around with Red Viego with Soul Cleave.
I will say just quickly,
the just like triple mists off of the Camavoran soldier to buff the deserter is gross.
Quickly before we move on, I want to say with this Castigate card, there's a point earlier when we were recording this a bit earlier where my face is like really shocked. I was in a match, and someone was playing like I think like Freljorn Shurima with like 2 champions, whatever, and completely baited me and played just Poros. And then not only did they play Poros, they played Castigate, and I was like very shocked. It like caught me so off guard. Like this guy started playing Poros. I was like expecting a bunch of Poro stuff, and he just plays Castigate out of nowhere and just clears my entire board, and then just fills his board up with buffed up Poros because they're all cost 1 mana. Like, it was ridiculous.
I think the issue with Castigate is like you look at all the top decks of like last meta, and every single deck is just champ reliant. It feels like,
Yeah.
and it feels like Castigate is just not hitting the right stuff, in order to be useful in what I would assume to be most metas and most decks. But also, like you said in this previous that what you just said, if you know that your opponent is running Castigate, that card is so much worse. Like, I feel like in open deck lists, its value goes down a lot as well.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's like a lot of the cards, right? It's like Nakakaboras, like we said before. If you're running that on ladder, and you're just running one Castigate in there, it has such a high impact and a high roll chance that I think it's viable as a tech, because no one's expecting it, no one's going to play around it, and it can just win you the game. And it's one of the very few tech cards that can just win you the game that is bad. Right? So if your opponent doesn't expect it, it is perfect.
Yes,
if your opponent is playing around
in
it,
all of my Demacia decks.
I don't know if I would go that far, because Castigate is like a bad unplayable card a lot of the times. It isn't like it isn't like Nagakaboros, right? Where like if you're like, okay, like I can just like jam this, I guess. Like you can't just be like, I have nothing to do, I guess I'll just like spend all my mana and like kill 2 of my units and 3 of theirs. That sounds fine.
Yeah.
Like,
well, exactly. You need the scenario, which is why I say it's like a one-up tech card. It can either save you if you top deck it and you have like such a weak board, maybe like a Thresh Nasus, and you have like Undying on the board and Curse Keeper and stuff like that.
Who's playing Undying and Nasus? It's not Kindred. We're talking about Thresh here.
Whatever, same thing. Okay, either way, is the scenario where it's good is where your champions are much more sticky and much more impactful than your opponent's champions. And a lot of matchups, this isn't the case, right? Because a lot of decks are just built around the champions. I think the only thing you're going to get much use out of is maybe like Fearsomes and stuff like that, if Fearsome seems to be decent.
It's a cute it's a cute card to just like have it exist. Like the reason I like that card is because like if we ever get some weird Vandal Swarm meta again, Castigate really kicks their ass. Like that's probably not gonna happen, but like also it doesn't even anymore because Puzzling Signposts actually.
Nah, here's the thing. Castigate, you try and play Castigate against like a good Vandal Swarm player, like whenever you commit to play that, they're going to kill you for it.
Yeah, they just refill and you die. Yeah, no,
I'm telling
take
you
it
guys,
back.
Spirit Fire is legitimately a better card.
Let's be real.
Spirit Fire is much better in those matchups.
Let's be real. This card was printed for Path of Champions, right?
Ooh,
and we just kind of had to accept that. They had the spare artwork. They didn't want to make it too like. The difference is, right, this is what like I was saying before in chat, is they had the spare artwork, right? So they have to make a card based on the artwork. It's not the vice versa. You make the card first and then the artwork. Well, I don't know exactly, but that's what I'm assuming, right? Because on the live stream they said they just had spare art that they wanted to use.
Yeah, speaking of Path of Champions cards, Soul Cleave, just truly unplayable in Constructed, am I right, guys?
Have you seen all the interactions though? There's like there's funny interactions.
Dude, that card is insane.
So Scion summons 2 Scions, like normal Scions, not Scion the Returned. So you can get 3 rallies out of it. With like 45 overwhelm damage or something ridiculous. If you do it on something that's a weapon, if you do it on a dark and it's a weapon, it summons the weapon at the moment.
Yes!
What?
I love that bug, dude. You're muted, Monty.
Oh, I was muted. Thank you. I was saying the Scion thing is a bug right now, and that's going to get fixed. But the weapon one is
Soul
really
Cleave.
funny.
Soul Cleave has broken the game a bit. It's like all these are bugs. I mean, there's still some sort like even like without the bug, Soul Cleave on Scion's pretty decent.
There is Soul Cleave Tryndamere. If you Soul Cleave level 1 Tryndamere, you just get 3 level 2 Tryndamers. that can all
But
swing in.
That
Tryndamere
does
is
work,
base because, like, what are you gonna do? Vengeance my Tryndamere? Oh no, I have 2 level 2 Tryndameres instead
Right?
of 3.
Like they actually can't
Yeah.
really answer it. The best I've like seen is stun the first Tryndamere, and it's like, okay, here's 2 9/9s. Good luck.
Yeah, I mean, people have said the best before. I mean, people said Miss, like I think someone said here before, Miss Reave. Very good in that deck.
Yeah, Mist Raid's a
If
high
you-
roll though. Like
Is it?
you can hit hitting the Allegiance is like the Allegiance card is insane. But the problem is a lot of I played against that deck like 2 times or something on stream, and it's just like if my deck runs any interaction, if they have 3 mana, I kind of just hold it up. And like the second they try to Soul Cleave, I just kill a unit that I want to kill anyways.
Yeah, true.
So it's not like crazy good. I think it's one of those things that like will be really powerful into decks that don't run interaction. But the second you have like a Mystic Shot, you can't do that much about it.
Well, it's a misref feeding 3 damage, right? So
That's true if you're trying to hit the Mistcaller.
and as well as with the Mistcaller is, you just do something turn 1, turn 2, save mana turn 3, Mistcaller. If you hit Allegiance, play the thing, get 3 5/5 for 5/2s, and
It's
then get
scary
a 4
if it goes
3s.
off,
Like
yeah.
and that's the thing, right? Is Fearsom's one of those decks that just wants to high roll you, and especially what's scary as well is as soon as you run that, then your harrowing is like ridiculous. And I think a lot of the times is with these decks, and this is like anything with harrowing with Soul Cleave, people don't realize is if you run harrowing and Soul Cleave together, you're killing a champion that you want to have in your harrowing anyway. Then you're summoning 2 more of them, so when your harrowing does come down, you've got 3 of them already.
It's pretty cool. I will say
Like
the Mist Wraith Harrowing is folding to Castigate pretty hard though. So
Unlucky.
What I will say is I've
I don't
got a
think
Rico
Mono
Rex adjacent deck idea right now. What if you play Freljord Allegiance with 3 Soul Cleave, and then you Soul Cleave your Outrider, and your dude gets 9/9 and overwhelm on the top of your deck?
That's
Okay.
big.
That
And
sounds
then,
elite.
and then
Okay.
you also get to play Tryndamere.
No,
So you
at
can
that
Because you're
Soul
playing
Cleave
Overlord,
Tryndamere.
No, wait,
so you
at
can Soul Cleave
and-
Tryndamere as well.
And you
At
can
that
Soul Cleave
point-
That might
Anivia.
be
All in the same
that might be what I go
deck.
play.
Wait. Why are we running Anivia? I'm sorry, you lost me.
Just Soul Cleave targets
yeah,
at this point.
Soul
right?
Cleave and Livia is great. It's so strong.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just
Soul
gonna
Cleave
say,
Gar.
why
Gar's bad,
are we
right?
running Allegiance? Just run Revner and then play Soul Cleave on her.
Okay,
Isn't the
well,
Revner
Revna
summoned?
costs 2 more, but like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't give overwhelm.
Okay, Revner costs 2 more, but if you're
Soul Cleave Revna.
your times it by
That's
8,
kind of good actually.
Soul
your
Cleave
times it by
Revna's
8.
so sketchy. It's like one of those like it's like the first one everyone thinks of, and it's just like, bro, that's a 2/2 for
Well,
6 that you're trying
it
to
is a-
Soul Cleave.
No. You played Spirits Unleashed already, so it's a 3/3.
Great.
Yeah, but like at that point, your 2/2 turns into what 16/16.
Alright,
It
but
doesn't
if
work
we
like
wanna
that,
talk
right?
about real
Revna isn't
stuff.
multiplicative. She uses additive, right? So you're
Yeah, yeah,
summoning
You get 4 Rev,
Two
or you get
it's
3
plus
Revnas
4
total.
from the Soul Cleave.
Oh yeah, because Revner's buffed by her
Yeah,
attack,
yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, you get plus 6.
But if we want to talk
It gets
about
like
some real
pretty much
targets,
multiplicative when you play like the next Revna, because like the first Revna buffed it, right? But
Got it. Yeah, I'm used to
Yeah.
playing the next Revner. But I think there's
the real targets are like the darkness.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like
for
darkness, right? Darkness probably actually wants
Yep.
some number of that.
that's
Maybe
the thing.
I don't know.
Like,
It might.
I think you're on
because
2
like
at
it
least
is
in
really
darkness.
good, but then
Straight
you're
up.
like not running cards that are like useful in most of the spots,
yeah, but
So-
because like it does have a lot of niche
The-
hits, but
the
like
Ixtal Sentinel combo in itself is why it's worth running, right?
Is it
No,
though?
it's not just that. So like one of the big reasons darkness fell off a lot compared to like Nora Vigra and stuff is it just took way too long to get your engine going. Like you literally never killed people. It took ages because to like actually set up a kill turn, you usually needed like multiple rogue makers, you needed your Vigors to stick, you needed like catalyzers to hit. But now you get like 1 rogue maker down and then you Soul Cleave and suddenly all your darknesses are free. And like that's kind of wild
Yeah, like that's definitely like a strong synergy, but you're definitely like taking away other points for running like multiple. So like it'll be interesting to see, but like I think one is good, but after that you might just have to say like we hit it off conch. Also, like I don't know if you're allowed to say the reason that Nora Vagar is getting played instead of Darkness is because it wins the game. Like
That's fair. No, that's respect. It just like it doesn't like solely rely on Darkness to win the game, as we're like Vigar Senna kills you with Darkness or it never kills you at all.
Yeah. Well, the Ixtal combo is still like really good, and it's like
we should
not much you
explain
can do.
that. If you Soul Cleave Ixtali Sentinel, 3 Darkness, go face.
Yes.
Like it just like unleveled Vigar, it doesn't matter. 3 Darkness, just go face. And
then,
but you also like
and
can't
then
a lot
if
of
you have,
damage
until like turn 8.
And then if you have Vigar, then just 4 go face. Which means your Darkness only needs to be only needs to level up, what, 3 times? 2 times?
I'm gonna be honest. If you have a flipped Vigar and an Ixtali, I don't think you need Soul Cleave to win that game.
Yeah, that's fair. But it's like it's one of those games.
Fair.
But it's very cool that you
Fair,
can send
fair.
4 Darknesses face.
Yeah, fair for sure. It's more of a win more situation.
Let's
But
go.
Ixtal,
What other? Let's try and let's do some quick fire. Like buff.
Hextech Handler's a funny one.
So like
Hextech Handler's funny. Chemovoran Soldier is funny.
Chemovoran Soldier is cracked.
Oh,
That
Luke
interaction is
funny.
ridiculous.
I like the aloof interaction. That was the first thing I thought
oh
of
yeah,
when I saw the
Aloof.
card.
I've seen that.
Yeah, some people say hunting boar, which is funny,
Oh,
but not.
No. Generally serious.
wanna-
Hunting boar is like really like it's really good in Anivia, right? Because you're running the card anyway for Anivia.
Soul Cleave. I was like,
Oh,
I thought
yeah.
you were saying every Anivia deck was running hunting boar.
No. Every deck's running Soul Cleave anyway, right? And hunting boar with the interaction just puts you 3 mana ahead and you win the game. Like, and it's like,
But that's so.
but
That's not happening. That's not a realistic
The
outcome.
whole idea, the idea behind it, because it's not as
I have to move away from the memes.
no, but like
we're trying to talk about
because it's
realistic
not as
stuff now.
it's like I just want to say it's not as meme as people say, because
Yeah.
like worst case scenario they kill your boar and you're +1 mana, so like it's not
You just spent 3 mana.
yeah
So you're not.
Yeah,
really
worst
plus
case
one, you're plus
scenario,
one
you
total
spent
mana.
6
mana.
mana and 2 cards, and they spent 1 2-mana spell.
yeah I'm not saying
And they
it's
got
good.
like a 1/1, and they stopped your like.
I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying it's not as bad.
I mean,
if you
okay.
put it in scenarios, right, is again it might be one of those things where it's like people don't expect it, but 7 mana turn 4.
Okay, that's crazy. It's nuts, but it's not happening.
I'm with you,
It's not
Santa.
happening.
Though it isn't that bad. Someone
Yeah.
said Soul Cleave, Pesky Spectre on Twitter, so at least you're not that guy.
But it's not a case where, like, again, it's a case where if you're going on ladder and you want to play Anivia on ladder, if you're just chucking
But
one
they're gonna
hunting
know.
boar in there,
They're gonna know. They're gonna plan
How-
accordingly
how
because they're
will
gonna
they
see the
know?
hunting boar played. They're gonna laugh.
Well,
and go, that's
how will
funny."
well,
they
the
know?
different,
And then they're gonna
the
go,
difference
"Hey,
is-
this isn't an Anivia deck. It probably runs Soul."
but the
Cleave."
difference is
So
okay.
they're gonna know.
The difference is
Actual targets are Bandle Gunners. Bandle Gunners seems really good to me. Then you're playing SI Tristana, which is like, this guy's laughing about that, but he's talking about hunting boar. What the fuck?
Bandle
wait,
Gunners,
no.
hold up. Bandle
Yeah, but
Gunners is the 8 mana impact 4.
8 mana, 7/7 spell shield impact.
the difference
Okay.
is you're already running it in Anivia anyway. Was my point that
But you were already running Splinter Soul in that deck anyways, and this is just better than Splinter
Were
Soul.
you
Now
running
have
Splinter
7/7
Soul?
instead of
No,
1/1.
nobody was actually
Wasn't
running
that
that.
In Trist
Yes, if you
SI.
played SI Tristana.
Yes.
it
He's
unironically
not talking
plays
about
Splinter.
Anivia. He's talking
Oh,
about
okay.
SI.
sorry,
And
sorry.
yes, you actually
okay,
ran.
okay.
Sorry,
So, like,
yeah.
I'm on the Monty Defense Force right now.
I like that.
I think that Splinter Soul and SI Trist is like much more defendable than Hunting Boar in Anivia.
Dude.
That's my official step.
Bandle
It
Gunners
is-
with not with Splinter Soul, with Soul Cleave is kind of hot. That's
So you played Splinter Soul because it would just, when it gets resummoned, Splinter Soul's an exact copy. When it resummons, you get more impact. So it was the same amount of impact, Actually, it was more off the Splinter Soul because you're retaining the original 4, but leaves you 2 7/7 bodies instead of a 1/1. So, like, if we're talking about real targets and real decks that might be able to gain some power, SI Tristana was around for a while. It's come back and forth a few times. It was never super, super powerful. It was never like tier 1, tier 0, but it was a real deck. It's been around.
I guess so. I think because Anivia runs the card anyway. The only my last.
Oh, no, yeah, we're done.
Okay.
We're done.
You know what? No, we're not talking about hunting board. If you want to play Soul Cleave on shit ass units that are easy to remove, I got the one for you that I don't hear enough people talking about. Soul Cleave Junk Construct.
Jesus Christ.
That is the most illegal.
I have seen that way too many times.
You have? Okay.
People have been talking about that like crazy on Twitter and in other forums.
Dude, I try not to go on Twitter that much.
5 mana.
But like, nah, it's such a good development punish though.
If you want to play it, I think if you're playing it in like SI, like Nora Vagar, it's like an alternative card, right? Like that's a target that you can use it on, and like you don't feel the worst about it. But like, that's not like your prime.
I think it's very good in some spots. I think it's your best target in a lot of spots. Just think about it like this way. You have a junk construct down, your opponent wants to develop into you, you use your spell mana, you make 2 blockers, you put 3 portals in your deck, next turn you play Pokestick, their next attack if they want to open, you have Portal Palooza. You're actually insanely just like defensive.
It's pretty cool.
That's true.
Okay. Ignoring
but like,
hunting
I don't
ball,
think you run a lot of Soul Cleave for that play. It's just like a really nice play that happens. You want to talk about hunting board again?
No, ignoring hunting ball. Do you guys think Anivia is in a situation where the Soul Cleave will impact it enough to bring it into meta?
Can I kick Turtle from the
Anivia?
No, I think Anivia has other issues.
The number of supporting cards it would take to make Anivia playable in 2023 LOR, like the number of supporting cards it would take to have made Anivia playable a year ago is insane. Like, that deck has so many problems that are not going to be answered by just Soul Cleave.
That deck lost to Bandleburn. Like, dude.
That's fair enough.
Some other things that I was thinking about. I was talking with Shadawx last night, and we were considering like maybe Cunning Kitten, and like there's been like SIP and Z decks that are like sort of fringe playable, same kind of in the same realm as SI Tristana, and like Spids was in the chat. She mentioned Fallen Feline is like an alternate target in that deck as well. It's not the best. It's similar to hunting board territory where it's like an X1
just
and
straight up catastrophe.
But it's kind of funny.
Just run Chirean Stump Worker. You don't have to find the second one anymore. Just
all right,
instantly.
We're getting a little long, and I want to go over. I want to just like rapid fire buffs and see like what people think, because Weight of Judgment changes nothing except a slight buff to Tellstones, right?
I think it's worse, but we don't have to get into that.
Do you think it's a nerf to Tellstones?
Okay,
yeah.
I think it's a buff to Tellstone, but a nerf to the card.
I think it's worse, because I think Ruthless hit the same damage point that Wait did.
It's just the mana, right? It's just Aftershock now, except it can't destroy landmarks, so it's still not great.
And deals 2 damage to champions that
it's not great.
Aftershock targets. The difference is Weighted Judgment dealt 7.
Yeah, every single time I want to put Weight of Judgment in a deck, it was because, like, I want to kill dancers. I want to kill, like, at some point it was like the 7/6 Viego card. Because I want to kill, like, very specific large followers, like maybe like Leviathan or something like that.
Alright.
And now it isn't hitting those big things. So
what about Albus? Attack deal 3? That's a pretty legit buff, right?
It's a good buff. I just don't think that is like what Jace decks needed, you know?
I am interested to see if we get Jace like Jace Lux type decks that can use that to just like, because a lot of the time those decks would struggle to just kind of finish the game, and Albus can help with that. So I think that's a cute idea. I don't think we talked about Kale at all since we started. We were talking a little bit before we started recording, but I think
Kale doesn't.
Yeah, I think were all
Kale got all the recognition she deserves.
We were all so mid on her. It's just like, Kale's, I don't know. It's just like
She's
every
there.
time I play her, it's just like this could be a different champion.
This could be Mountain Sojourners. This could just be a different card. Like, forget champion.
I did have a game today where I was playing like support Kale archetype, and like my turn 5-6 were Mountain Sojourners. It's like I had Kale in my hand the whole time, but
you played
why
two
would I
Sojourners
play?
instead?
Yeah, why would I play Kale? I could play
Exactly.
You could play 2 Mountain Sojourners.
Exactly.
Tristana's just a placebo buff that changes almost nothing.
Mhm.
I think that buff was legit just to remind people Trista's in the game.
I think
because like they were buffing Jax and stuff.
Like I genuinely think they just felt bad because she was their like literally the lowest play rate in the game, and I still don't think it's because she's that bad. I just think it's because she's boring. Like Tristana's still an okay deck. Like you can make a tier 2 Tristana deck that will like do stuff, but it's just she's so boring.
And her package doesn't feel great to play anymore. Like it felt good when it was like strong, but like it's kind of just like fine.
Yeah.
Unless you're Gregory the Gate Grey, I don't think anyone else is playing that deck.
We did talk about Dragon. Shyvana buff did not change a lot. Maokai may as well have not been changed.
Oh, big winner of the patch. Master Yi decks.
Master Yi decks got Dragon Caller.
Got 2, it got Dragon Caller, and it got Master Yi now easy to level up, right? Because it's allied Master Yi's in deck.
Yeah, Master Yi is okay. So like I've been playing a lot of Master Yi, like Master Yi Victor Dragon Caller. I don't care at all about Yi's change to level up condition. It means nothing. Like it actually changes so little, so much of the time. But 5-mana Dragon Caller is the sexiest thing they could have given me. I've been trying.
I think it's.
I tried to make that card work at 6 mana for so long.
I think the Yi buff is, like you said, is it just going to help you in games that maybe grind a bit long? It might help you win like a few more games, right? It might just push you to the win that few more games. I don't think there's like a deck.
Yeah, the Yi buff was nice.
I don't think
It was a good buff overall.
Yeah.
Hate Spike, I think, is actually just like
Hate Spike's really good. I think it's actually a really good change.
I haven't seen it played yet though.
I want it to be 1 mana, and I want it to just say summon a Husk if Evelyn's in my deck.
Because you want my change? I was ahead of the curve.
It's like everybody's change because Husks are toxic as hell.
No, we talked about that on the Squadcast when it was there. The CardGamer was definitely the one who pointed it out. That's a good change.
Because Husks are the worst. Husks are one of the worst things in the game. Like, period. Like, I literally like almost lost a game today because somebody's Hate Spike made a Spell Shield Husk. And it's just like, that's just so annoying. So I don't want Hate Spike to be good if that's the like other side of it.
You want them to print a new card that's just not Hate Spike, that's just 1 mana, kill an ally and deal 3.
That's what I want. That sounds great.
Or deal 2.
Deal 2, 1 mana, kill an ally, deal 2. That sounds awesome.
I will say deal 2 and deal 3 are massive. I don't think it's as massive it used to be, because a lot of things have been nerfed down to 2 mana. But if you think about Veins now 3 mana, a lot of different cards that you want to kill of 3 health, right? Not mana, sorry. And Hate Spike now being in that small amount of cards that deal 3, I think it's decent.
Yeah, I'm happy that Hate Spike is good, but I just wish they changed it the other way. I don't like Husks, but that's more personal. Shadow Shift change makes me want to play Kenna and Ari.
Yeah, it might actually be like
played
in that deck. Like it might be better than Retreat Return in that deck. And like it makes Zed like Zed2 in your hand is like a playable card if Zed doesn't die on the field.
Like Shadow Shift is it's kind of a good card now.
Yeah.
I will say I'm pretty sure the biggest buff I only got this patch was the Illaoi buffs, but that's fine.
Do you really think Ionia Illaoi's a deck?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But
I think
like
it can be.
It's probably better than the rest of the Ionian decks.
It's a good deck, I just think.
Oh, we didn't talk about the Rise Shard, but whatever. Really weird they chose.
That's a big change.
The Rise Shard's interesting, right?
Thank God
they chose to buff like arguably the best shard, which I thought was really weird. It's like, why would you could have buffed anything else?
It's the easiest one to buff though.
That's true.
Yeah.
The other ones are really like it's not like you can make them draw 2 cards. So
the big thing, right, with Rise is getting that last little combo and having that 1 extra mana, and it refreshes each time. Actually helps like a tiny bit. Like it just helps you. Like a lot of the times is you'll have like the necessary cards in hand, you just won't have enough mana to kind of get it all out quick enough.
I think one of the important things to note as well is like if games go how you want them to go, that's not a 1 mana increase. That's not like a 1 mana buff. It's a 5 mana buff because like ideally you're playing this first and you're getting full spell mana and you're getting full spell mana every time. So like 5 extra mana is a lot of mana to work with, especially when Rise asks you to spend 10 mana to turn his Wincon on without
you
even
are
playing him.
still playing Rise, so I don't think it's
That's
going
true.
to do too much. I think that's all the buffs we missed. We covered everything else.
Maokai got 1 attack. Well, that was
I mentioned him.
Okay. He brought Scarceum's level 2 Poggers. We love that guy.
I did say Maokai may as well have not been changed. It's like cute now, I guess.
All right. Before we wrap it up, does anybody have some lineup ideas? Because we got a couple tournaments this weekend.
Oh god, no.
Demacia.
I know it's early.
It's definitely Demacia Tentacles, Jax, a Jax deck, and then X.
Probably play
right?
like Vars something.
Because they're 3. They line up pretty nice. They're 3 mid-range decks, and they're just smashing the meta at the moment, and they're topical. Right? Is obviously give it a week, and then we'll find better decks, better lineups. I'm sure there'll be like better things like that. But if you want to go in, especially if you're spending 650 shards, for some people it's and especially because beta is no rewards, and you're doing it for cosmetics, I'd say just run some form of Illaoi deck. It matter of choice really, but I think Vayne is the best one. You're running a Jax deck, again, Jax on maybe, or something else, and then, like I said, is a Varus deck or something like that.
You could literally...
That goes
I was about to say, there's like a lot of things. Like, you could literally run, like, Green Cat... Plunder, and like I don't know what other decks were.
Swain TF. Swain
TF's great.
Swain TF's still good. Echo's still good.
Darkness stuff is good. There's
Green Cat.
A ton.
I mean, yeah,
Green Cat changes again. I think though.
I like Turtles like lineup as one. I think like going in the direction of like Plunder, Bilge, Nox kind of makes sense if you want to be like good into that lineup.
Yeah,
like something in that direction, and then like. If we're saying those are 2 of the lineups, then like probably doing something along the lines of like SI stuff, or like Aatrox is maybe a little bit sketchy to be playing with that SI stuff if we're expecting people to be on like Plunder and Bilge Nox, but like
you just play like Darkness.
Stuff. Yeah, right, like SI, BC, FTR, and like third SI deck or third deck with like similar tables, and you try and beat
maybe something like Darkness. Nora,
do we know if the Gauntlet is open deck list, right? It's just like seasonal, right? You just pick one and ban.
I don't. I think it might be closed deck list.
We don't know.
I hope it's not, but
the open, like the Runeterra open should be, but like the Daily Rumble in like the open format, we don't know yet. I don't think.
Wait, when does it
Today
open?
was closed deck list. I didn't like that at all.
What do you mean? When does like the best of 3 Daily Rumble start, or like when is the
like time open? Right? Because like I'm at a point where it might be open in like 10 minutes, and I can check for you guys.
I think it starts on like Friday, not tomorrow.
No, it starts tomorrow. It definitely starts tomorrow. Yeah, February, because believe it or not, we have 10 days till open. 10 days until the first open. So we don't have a lot of time at all. But yeah, from February 9th to February 18th is going to be your standard best of 3s.
I was looking through decks and I have my lineups. It's Kayla Luces, Tristana SI, and just Pirates. Just Pirates.
No triple Dragon Caller?
No, just Pirates.
Bummer.
The recently nerfed Pirates.
Pirates is like fine.
Yeah, Pirates has always been fine.
The eye change wasn't really a nerf in Pirates.
That's true. You are always attacking with it.
Yeah.
I think it's the deck that like got nerfed the least by eye change.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we're in one of those metas. One of those initial metas, like the start of like obviously things change and people try something new, where there's a lot of decks you can have fun with, and I very much encourage people just take this beta season to have fun, as well as gain competitive knowledge and everything like that. Is ladder doesn't mean as much anymore. Obviously, people want to get high ranks and stuff like that, and people want to push the new ranks, stuff like that. But you're going to be playing so much open content and best of threes that you probably wouldn't be playing before, and you're going to be playing a lot of like the best decks there. So don't feel pressured to spam ladder with Illaoi like I did.
Yeah, ladder is like the new, not like the casual format, but like it's definitely not like the standard like highest level of like competitive.
You can win more with fun decks. I think people aren't going to be constantly on the best decks on ladder, because the place where you're going to practice is the opens, not ladder.
I definitely agree with this. I think a lot of people have been really questioning like the quality of ladder in the new system, and I think the main dip in quality won't be like players are playing bad on ladder. It's more like players aren't playing the best decks, or like players are playing like bad decks on ladder. Or
they're trying new decks out that they won't take to the open, and at that point you can exploit the fact that they're playing new decks and they probably have some flaws in it. And then when internal queue comes out, you can have 2 ranked queues to go down, and you'll have plenty of time to do fun stuff.
Well, I think that's probably a pretty good place to call it for today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed. Remember to drop a like, comment, and subscribe if you're not already. And if you want, you can head over to my Twitch channel and drop a follow there to catch these live. Shameless self-plug.
Next week is...
Gentlemen, thank you all for joining me today. We'll see you guys next
week
time.
Is Marshall.